Now, if you look in most cultures, there is a jinn mythology. Almost every culture on the planet has some sense of, if you look, especially Aboriginal people, they're very much connected to that. I lived in the Sahara, and jinn tend to inhabit desert areas, and there are many, many stories that I heard from people that I trust of their own experience with jinn in the desert and things. So I think that there are people that have had experiences. We tend to ignore a lot of these things that happen to people, like alien abduction. Alien abduction is classic jinn stuff, because the jinn do yukhtataf. People get taken by jinn, and they do things to them. And so these type stories, and you have a lot of people that have had these experiences all over the world of these type things. So Allahu Alam, I don't know, but it's definitely consistent with what they say in tafsir and things. That, in fact, Abqar, which is their capital, Khurafa, the Prophet, in Arabic, superstition is khurafa. Khurafat are superstitious belief. But the Prophet once asked Aisha if she knew who Khurafa was. And she said no. And he said Khurafa was a man who was kidnapped by the jinn. So it was like alien abduction. He was kidnapped by the jinn, taken to Abqar, and he saw all these wondrous things that happened with them. And then when he came back, he told people about it, and they laughed at him and said that it was ridiculous and absurd. And so that became hadithu khurafa. Like, that's just khurafa talk. In other words, it's superstition. So the jinn, people don't believe in them, that's fine. Not believing in something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There's a lot of people don't believe in God. So, yeah, I read about that, and I think a lot of it is definitely exaggerated. Commercial airlines, there's never been an accident in the Bermuda Triangle in the history of commercial airlining. So, Allahu Alam. There is a weird thing that all the sea snakes migrate down there, which is strange. But, I don't, there's a lot of things on the planet that are just weird. There are very strange things on the planet. I've had a couple of very strange experiences. I had an experience in the desert that was very strange. And I had experience in a New York subway with another person who's a friend of mine who's an eyewitness to this. And, it's kind of Ripley's Believe It or Not, but I did have that experience. I'm sure some of you have had strange experiences. Other people, maybe they haven't. Some people just deny their own, what they're seeing, because they just, they don't have a way of assimilating what's happening to them. I had a friend of mine, he was from Bangladesh. His dad was really funny. He said, jinn, it's from jinn. You drink it, you'll see jinn. And he said, and technology's from jinn. Why do you think they call it engine? And he had this whole thing. Anyway, the jinn, we believe in them. It's in the Quran. You can't deny them. They're creatures, and they're around. They don't live generally with us. They tend to live in isolated areas, like somewhere like Greenland or Sahara Desert, places, big open places. They like big open places, and that's where they tend to live. So, but there are jinn that do move amongst people as well. And you have all this weird stuff. There's so much weird stuff out there, and there's a lot of people that believe weird things. So, I don't. A lot of Muslims get very obsessed with the jinn, and I think that's a dangerous thing to do. We know they exist. The Quran asserts their existence. They certainly do explain a lot of the weird stuff that goes on in the world that is kind of inexplicable. And I think that's why most cultures did have some type of reference to poltergeists or to the little people or whatever they were. There's a lot of terms for them. Generally, my understanding is that they have suggestion. Their power is the power of suggestion.